we are great. It is a great one to be joined by Margaret Mwangi. We read with Margaret some time back, and now we are here together hosting HR Tech Talk. And thanks to Richard and all of us who are attending this session today. So what we'll be discussing this today will be, we are building from the previous discussions. And within our posters, we had shared out, we had shared out some of the related topics that we discussed. And one of them that we discussed was last time, in the last week's discussion, we discussed about the payroll without horizons. So we were looking at, okay, what does it mean to have a global payroll? Yeah. Then we had previously discussed about attendance. We discussed about managing attendance in dynamic scenarios. We have discussed about data privacy. All this discussion came about when we were actually discussing these areas will always be practical when now we're also dealing with global payroll. So I found it out that our previous discussions is building into this, what we're going to discuss today, and even mentioned about how do we transform our reports, and how do we actually make sure that we have a futuristic or easy report that can enable data-driven decision. So that's why we came up with this topic again today, just to look at it. So today we'll be having 3 main topics. So I think this is the most event that we're going to have, or a discussion that has got 3 main topics to be looked at. So today we are going to look at step by step. So what steps do you need to take account of when you're going to do payroll? I've been in interviews asking some guys, someone coming in and say that I do payroll. I ask them, what steps do I need to consider if I were a newbie, or if I to train someone to do payroll, what steps do you want them to follow through? So people don't get it correctly. So we want to try and look at it. What process is that? Then Margaret Mwangi will take us through a demo of a payroll that is global perspective. And I believe those of us who are not actually here in Kenya, you'll see that workpay system that we are having is actually able to do not only the Kenyan part, but other countries also. So I know she'll take one country and tell us about others also within the system. Then we'll also have payroll analytics. So what measures are we looking at? Why do we need to do payroll analytics? So that whenever you do your payroll, once you are done, then what do you need to show? How do you move forward next step? So that is majorly the brief of why we are here today. And I believe it will be an amazing session for us. Now, just by the way, we are having Coffee Day tomorrow. If you haven't paid to be with us and you're in Nairobi, I will forgive those who are not here with us in Nairobi, but if you can take a flight to Nairobi tomorrow, please do, because you are having a coffee date that will be stabilizing our professional support system. So only at 1,000 shillings. If not paid, I don't think we are still even admitting people, but if you're still admitting people, you need to be part of those to be admitted. And we have been growing in numbers in our participation, meaning we are getting better with our networking. So please do so. And if you're in Nakuru, Kisumu, and Thika, we are coming. So you can come for this, but we'll also come to a neighborhood in the coming days. So make sure that you attend this event. It is a cool one to have. We'll try to have virtual one for Kina Simon, and I saw there's a friend of mine also from Nigeria joining us, South Africa. So we'll also have one online for us to celebrate together. Now, to our partners that are here with us, S&ONs Limited is actually the parent firm of HR Tech Talk, because this is where the idea is built and everything comes to light from S&ONs. It's a HR firm, and we deal with the HR systems, we deal with HR analysis, and general HR consultancy. So if you're looking for that, then you can reach out to us. Now, HRMPEB has joined this, and HRMPEB is our examination body for human resource professionals. So they're also saying that it is good for us to learn, and they're looking at also sponsoring us. So if you're looking to take CHRP, Certified Human Resource Professional, the best thing that has happened in our lives today is that we have private candidature, meaning you can register and learn on your own at your free time. Then you go and do exam. So what you need to have is you need to have the discipline to study on your own, and you can actually choose to have various teachers or lecturers to train you on some other aspects. Remember, when you go to a school or a college, you'll find that they already have their own lecturers. So you might not get a chance to choose, but if you're doing a paper, then you can choose who needs to train you on what. And then what you focus on is that you train, you learn, then you come back and do your exam. So there's private candidature, and you can reach out so that you can get more information. We're having WorkPay, a HR system, and they're also supporting, saying that we need to learn this system. So it's providing us providing us a platform where we get to learn about systems. So it's a privilege to have WorkPay with us. We have HR Mates, also another HR system, amazing one, that also giving us a chance to use it and learn. We have FinClock, also another HR system that we also use for our learning purposes. And if you're also looking for them that can work for you in your company, then all these are HR systems. Then my application that I did for HR Metrics Analytics, where you can just go, get your metrics, do your calculations, and you have your reports accurate. So watch out for something big is coming up. Still on HR Metrics Analytics, we are trying to build what you have actually requested on various platforms for us to enable us to do proper reports. So those are our sponsors. And now we're saying that we are open for partnerships with HR providers. If you're looking for a system, if you're an expert in any area in HR, come out, let's partner together. Then there's HRMIS training, that if you need HRMIS training, then you can also do that together. The number is there and our email. So please do reach out. Now, Richard, I want to take it back to you. So
Thank you.
Yes, and then now I can take over once you are well that your team is together with us. Yes.
Thank you very much, Nelson. He didn't mention, for those people who are not aware, he's an award-winning. He has won several awards. So he loves things to do with technology, creativity, and innovation. Yes. Margaret, how are you?
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very fine. Good morning, good evening from wherever you are joining us from. So it's a pleasure to meet everyone. And I hope you're going to be able to learn more from this session. Yes.
Thank you very much. Payroll, most people don't like payroll like me, because complexities and issues related to analytics. And the word that has been used there is clarity within complexities. How can we simplify these complexities? That is what we want to see. Can we fall in love with the payroll management, the processes, the analytics? Help us love the payroll system. But first, you have to brand yourself. You have to brand yourself, because it's also a marketing forum, networking, we're networking. So you can tell us more of the things you do, so that we'll be able to remember that Margaret does this. When I want something solved, I'll look for Margaret.
All right. So thank you so much. So as the poster says, my name is Margaret Mwangi, and I am a customer success executive at WorkPay Africa. So I've been able to be in WorkPay for quite some time, and really helping companies to be able to streamline and make payroll easy. And payroll should not be complicated. Payroll should be an easy action that you're just able to run a payroll within 5 to 10 minutes. You're able to do a payroll and get all the statutories calculated correctly, get the net payables for every employee, and at the end of the day, get the reports that needs to be remitted to different authorities. So for WorkPay, we help companies to simulate their payrolls, not only in Kenya, but also in other countries. So we have Uganda, we have Tanzania, we have South Africa, we have Rwanda, and all the other countries that you will be willing to get onboarded on the WorkPay system. And this has made us be able to capture so many companies in the market. And the benefit of it, it's seamless, because you just need to give us the employees. You just need to give us what you need to pay for these specific employees. Do they have benefits? Do they have any deductions? And then let the system compute that for you. So in a nutshell, that is what we are doing currently for companies in the market. And I know so far, companies that have already gotten to use Workpay, they can testify that. And it will also be a pleasure, at least from this call, we can be able to get even more customers after the discussion that you're going to have today. So it's a privilege to join in this call. I know you have interacted with other colleagues from Workpay, and it's also a privilege to get to know so many people from different countries. Yeah, so that's what I will say. Back to you. Is it George?
Richard.
Yeah. Back to you, Richard.
Richard Magoma. So, Margaret,
Yes.
I'm sure you have a demo. You are going to show us the process, how from end to end, how do you start processing a payroll so that it is clear, the complexities are reduced. Is that so?
Yes, that is what I'm going to show.
Thank you.
Great. I see there's a question. Is Workpay software? So is it cloud-based? Yes, Workpay is cloud-based, so you can access it from wherever you are, so long as you have internet. Yeah, we do not install anything. We just access it from just creating an account, and then you're able to process a payroll and pay your employees at a convenient time.
All right. Let's go on.
Okay.
So,
Thank you, Margaret, for that strong introduction. And I believe now we'll be able to get to learn more about Workpay even as we go. And also appreciate Workpay for giving us a chance to just learn using their system. Remember, we're learning for free. And someone coming out telling that use this for free, it's a good thing. So we give our time to listen to Workpay, and we also get to learn. So now I'll take us through a brief process. It's a nine-step process of how to get your payroll done. Yeah. So then after that, we'll now have Maggie show us the payroll, the system in about 20 minutes or so, 15 minutes or so.
Someone is saying that he can't hear you. Somehow your voice has fluctuated down.
Okay. And let me try move something. Now you can hear me from your end, Richard.
Yeah, I can. Okay. Me, I can hear you.
Okay, then they need to increase their volume. So now we're saying that when doing payroll is a nine-step process that if done correctly, then you will not have a problem. And at some time, depending with what you're handling, you can bypass a few. But there are some that if you don't mention to anyone, they'll know that you are guessing what you're doing. So the first part of doing payroll, we know that payroll cannot be done without employee data. So data entry is very key. So how do you get in the data into the system? You can upload your Excel to the system, or you can let people just fill in the information by themselves, meaning employee self-service. So I come in as a new employee, I key in my data into the system. Then you as the manager, HR manager, or accounting or a payroll manager, you will accept my entry. Or me as the payroll manager, I will key in the details by myself. Or I key them in Excel first, then I upload in the system. That's not data entry. Now you want to capture very key information, the revenue PIN that you have, the bank details, your name, the ID, what is required by the government. So this is what identifies you as a person, and what identifies as a person and also identifies you with the government that will use this payroll at the end. Then number two, which is also a very simple thing, is time attendance. So some companies don't have time attendance because people work hybrid, so they're performance-based. So they don't need to have attendance in their payroll. So this part sometimes can be bypassed depending on what company is focusing on. But in most cases, you'll find that a system is already preset to use a given status to give a given status when it comes to attendance, meaning you can preset and say, for every person, just give present 31 or 26 days or 30 days. every month. So you don't care much about the absenteeism of that. So just attendance, normal, pay everybody the way we are paying for a full month, assuming that they were actually present. Then you need to now do earnings and deductions update. This is where the problem comes in. Doing earnings require that for any change that you need to make in the system, meaning the employee data entry and earnings and deductions, you need to have an approved document. So if you're going to change Nelson's salary, then you must have proper approval for that salary. Because if you don't have it, then you'll be doing your own things. And during audit, you can be challenged. So every earning they're going to change, you have a letter for it. If deduction are going to make a deduction, you must have a document stating that deduction. So let's say that someone comes in and say that, I have an insurance that I pay for, life assurance. So I need to get some relief. So if I just do it by word of mouth, not seeing that policy, insurance policy, I'll be at a problem. So this step requires that you actually need to have proper documentation at this step. So make sure that at any point you have proper documentation for this. It's always it's always a challenge for most people. And payroll people, if you're doing payroll, you don't need to be worried about who's telling to make changes. As long as your policy says that for every change, it must be signed by a CEO, finance manager, and HR, or any of the three. Then any document that's not signed by those three, don't put in the payroll. That is one of the things that you need to learn about payroll. Then tax calculation. So again, calculation for tax depends on earnings and deductions. So as someone who does payroll, you need to keep yourself abreast with tax laws of various countries. And how do you keep yourself abreast with that? You pass it on to the system provider. Like now, if you have WorkPay, I now don't need to cram or master everything about tax calculation because there's so many. So what do? Technology comes in. They'll remember everything that you tell them, and they'll change when you tell them to change. So I'll go to a system provider, tell them I'm in Uganda, and Uganda tax laws looks this way. They will do it to the system. They will know which earnings are taxable, which earnings are not taxable, which deductions are taxed deductible, and which deductions are not taxed deductible. Meaning you deduct, then you tax, or you don't deduct, so you only deduct them after taxation. Like NSSF is you first deduct it, then you tax. Yeah. But your loan that you took from the company loan, then that one you first tax your earnings, then you do a deduction later on. So those calculations that you need to have, they have to be correct in the system. So you need to do tax calculation properly and you confirm. Then generation of payroll reports. And I'm saying it today here that you only need 2 reports from payroll system that are very key. In either way, they'll give it, but just ask for them. One report is a report called variance report. A variance report will tell you what has taken place here. It will be a mirror of this. What has taken place here. Meaning, I'm saying that Nelson salary changed from 20,000 to 30,000. I'm saying that Nelson deductions have increased or reduced, or I got some circle loan coming in, so you need to be deducted that circle loan, yeah, or company loan. So those changes, you need to see them under reports, what is called variance report. You need to see every change that you need to have in the payroll must be accompanied by this. Then in the variance report, you'll also see some changes in the tax calculations because of what happened here. Then the last thing that you also need, a second report that you need, which is very critical, is summary report, or what we call payroll summary report. So this is what you can now use even to disperse amounts. Is where now you are saying, this is your earnings, deductions, your tax, and this is your net salary. So for variance report, there is no net salary. It's only just changes that have taken place. So if you don't make any change, you'll have a 0 variance. If you made a change, you get that variance, either a positive or a negative variance. For a payroll summary report, you will have now the earnings, deductions, the taxation, and the net income. So if your variance report is accurate, then payroll report is automatically accurate for that period, for that month. Then those two reports will now allow you, if you are sure that you have those two reports and you are okay with them, and those two reports are what we sign. We sign, this is what we sign here. We sign the variance report and we sign payroll summary report, because they are a reflection of these two things, tax and earnings and deductions. So that's what you present for approvers to see. Then now you go to the next step, which is very critical. You disburse funds. Now meaning that you give people, you take money to the bank so that they can actually get it. This is why we're saying that if you're paying people in dollars, do you actually have enough dollars in your account? If you're paying in euros, do you have the euros? If you're paying in cash, does your cashier have got that cash to give out? If it is check, do we have enough, is the checkbook enough to do that? So now when disbursing fund, there are so various ways of disbursing fund disbursement that you need to explore and see how it can actually work best. Now you can issue payslip. For those of us who still issue payslip hard copies, you can issue them hard copy. But then you can also just do a click and send. That's where systems come in. You don't need to print. You just need to let people log into their ESS, or you can send to the email account so that they can see the payslip from the email point of view. So you can choose. There are also three options there. Either send to the employee email, or they log into the system and see their payslip, or you can print and give out. The risk of each of those has got their own risk that you can actually look into. Then once everything is done, everybody's happy about their money. You as the person, you need to still do reconciliation. Meaning you want to ensure that whatever happened from here up to payslip issuance is actually what should be represented in that month. You added people in the system, their earnings deductions are okay, the tax was calculated properly, you've done the reports, the funds have been disbursed and payslips are okay, and nobody's now raising any issue. So if you look at your payroll, you are okay with it. It means that you're doing reconciliation. And as you do reconciliation, this is where we connect payroll. If you're doing payroll in HR, and there's someone in finance, this is where now a financial reporting person in finance, this is where now you'll want to run your report to go hit the ledger in finance. So meaning this is the point where now you need now to sit with the finance team, even not part of that finance team. You need to see the finance team who to do the reconciliation. Meaning if your earnings here, we have got accounts in finance for staff wages. So you want to see that what went to wages is actually the correct one. What needs to go to KRA under taxes in the profit and loss account or in the balance sheet, yeah, or in the trial ledger is accurate. This is where you interface with the finance team now to make sure that whatever you have run in HR is actually accurate in the finance reporting side to balance the books. Then after that, then now you can do your statutory remittance. This is where now you come and find the returns in the revenue authorities portals. You now need to do the NITAs we do here in Kenya. We do other things that also need to be done. So what you need to do and understand is under remittance, you need to understand the process. The critical part is the dates. Which date do I need to make these returns? So that is the basic process of a payroll processing that you need to understand. But there's more to it, not just the way we've talked about it, but there's more to it. But this process will enable you to do actually a proper payroll processing for every given month. So the best thing with when you have this process is that you become accustomed to it. Then now it never become a problem. After now mastering this process, then now it becomes easier for you. And some of them you just do them unconsciously. You just know that from data entry, I know the time attendance, I know how to run it, deductions, then you just know how it goes. You don't need to cram it if you've been using it over and over. So if you're going for interview for a payroll, if you're going to deal with payroll, then master these processes, these steps, then now you'll be able to understand. So before now we look at now, you've done your payroll, and now you're looking at having your analysis of the report. How do you analyze? So I want to bring in to allow to allow Maggie to now present to us the demo of a payroll system and how it works. So we can see the areas that we have here, if they're in the system, how do we do in the system, and how do we complete the system. Then now we come back and I'll be able to take us through the analytical process. How do we now analyze the payroll that you've done? How do every end of the month, what analytics do you need to get from it, and how do you make decision? How do you run a decision processes with the report that you generate? So Maggie, you are welcome. Show us what you have. We'll appreciate to learn more on the same too.
Okay, thank you, Nelson. So I'll present my screen. Just a minute.
In the meantime, Jellican, is there any question? Okay, yeah, I think we are in. It's okay.
Okay, so I hope my screen is clear enough.
Yes, it is.
Can you all see? All right.
Yes.
So I think I'll alternate what Nelson has said. So in my presentation, I think it will be more of what Nelson has just explained in terms of getting the payroll and how we derive it at Workpay. So at any point, if I'm not clear, kindly just stop me. That's okay. Okay, great. So I'll be brief. I'll not take quite much time. So with Workpay, this is the Workpay system and how the display looks like and the interfaces. So beginning with the different steps that a HR should be able to know or be able to do before processing the payroll. So one is getting to get employees on the platform. So as Nelson has said, you need to know how many people are you paying. They should be on the system and you should be able to allocate them their correct benefits in terms of salary, any allowances that you're giving them, all the way to deduction, so that as you're expecting the system to give you the correct tally or the correct tabulation, you have already fed the correct information of the employee. So for us as Workpay, we give you the option to add your employees. So as per my screen, you can see that you are able to add different employees from different countries. And for you to get to this particular point, we give you an Excel template that you populate the bioinformation of the employees. And you are able to distinguish, are these employees FTEs, are these employees contractors, are these employees consultant, and all that. So you'll see that there is a difference. FTEs, they have the statutories, that is the pay, there's NSSF, there's the health fund, and for contractors, they have the withholding tax. So the Workpay system has that functionality. So if you get the employees, whatever country that you are in, you are able to get them, and this is shown by their flag. So I'll not touch more on the employees today because I just wanted you to get to understand that you must first have employees, and then you go to the payroll tabulation. So if we go to payroll now, I think also it's the second step from Nelson's presentation. That is, you must feed in or record the benefits. So you begin by having employees on the platform, and then the second option, you go to feed the allowances, the deductions that needs to be added to this employee and also deducted, so that we get the correct net payable at the end of the day. So for the Workpay system, you have these options. You have a way to run payroll, you have a way to edit the salaries, and you also have a way to record allowances and deductions. So if we start with allowances, so let me just reduce this. So for allowances, you have an option, we call it an allowance settings. You can be able to set allowances based on countries. So these ones, we don't just assume that all countries have the same benefits. No, we just give you a leeway. Some people might have benefits which are not the same with the other country. So we give you a leeway to add your own categories. So if you have commission, if you have transport, if you have hardship benefits, you're able to create them on the workplace system, categorize country-wise, categorize what type of employment they affect, that is contractors or full-time employees, categorize the allowance, will it be a cash benefit, will it be an uncash benefit, and also states, is it going to be taxed? Is it going to be tax exempted? And also, is it going to be partially taxed? So what usually happens, you create those categories according to what you have been given to your employees. And then from there, that's when you are able to allocate individually or bulk. You allocate, this employee has a benefit of transport, this other employee has a benefit of lunch, this other employee has a benefit of hardship. So if you come back to the allowance, you're able to go individually. Like, let's say this is just giving an example. Let me just take an example of Uganda. I think that's where we have quite a number of benefits. So for this, for the Uganda account, you have transport, you have airtime, you have commission, you have retirement benefit. So if you have few employees, you're able to go individually to those employees and edit the value. Values may be different each and every month. And also you might have a recurring benefit. So that's why as you set this up, you state, is it a recurring benefit or is it a one-time? One time, you're just being paid that 1 month and it gets over. So that is also something else to note in terms of payroll. There are those benefits, recurring benefits, which are one time. So if you have quite a number of employees, you also give you a bulk import option whereby you also get an Excel template to be able to generate this benefit. So if it's an allowance and you want to put it in an Excel format, you are able to also go back there and get an Excel template. It has now the allowances that you have created, and you're able to put values per each and every category that you want to give to your employees. So it's possible for one individual, and it's also possible for bulk employees. So going back here, you're able to come to browse and import the data, and it's updated on the payroll information for that specific month. So as you're updating as per, it's affecting a month, or it's going to be a recurring benefit. So other than that, you also have an option to create your own deductions. So you might have companies with advances, you might have companies with recoveries, you might have companies with breakages, lost items, something that you need to recover from the employee. So also for that, you are able to create your own categories. So same with allowance, you also have deduction settings, and you're able to also create deduction affecting an employment type and also affecting a specific country. So the system, what I would like everyone to get to understand is that you do not just do a payroll just for Uganda employees alone. No, as you're preparing the payroll, you prepare the payroll for all countries at the same time. Because once you click run, the system will run a payroll for all the countries, but you get the reports differently. So that's why it's important to know that preparation of the payroll data is prepared for all countries. So if you want to update Uganda first, you get the templates for Uganda, update, go to Tanzania, and so on. So you create that the same way, and then also go back to deductions, select the country that you want to update, and from there you are able to also do individually a very simple interface that any user can be able to interact with, edit the amount, or do it in bulk. So like, let's say I can say this person, we can add them like 4,000 deduction under loan category. So it updates automatic. You don't need to do anything else. It has been updated. So that is also another section for updating the deductions. So you have come across companies having either benefits or even deductions that affects payroll. So from that, you have employees, you have payroll data, that is any benefit, any deduction, then now you can proceed to run the payroll. So you go back to the run payroll. You had already uploaded the employees with their salaries, so you want to see the benefits being incorporated in the payroll. So The next one is you select the country that you want to just confirm, has those or the deduction taken effect. So if we get to see like this one, this is Uganda. So we have the basic in UGX. So it will be different depending with the currencies of different companies. So we have the gross amount, we have employees with the transport benefit, we have others with airtime benefit, we have others with commissions. And from there also, let me just drag this here. So from there, you're able to get to see every benefit which has been computed. In case it's about the statutories, as Nelson have said, the system has that incorporated in it. So if we go to Uganda, we get employer and employee statutory deductions are computed differently. So if it's NSSF for the employee, that is 5%. If it's employer NSSF, is 10%. So we also get all the pay, any deduction that you have been able to capture and get the net pay in that specific currency. So that's how the system will compute. So you don't have to hustle, get to know all the statutory calculation for every country. No, as work-based system, we are coming in to help that. So the same way we have been able to do for Kenya, that's the same way we are also helping companies outside Kenya. So from the payroll that you have run, or what I'm able to display here, so the payroll first goes to draft. In case there's any amendment that you need to do, you are able to amend that, either on the benefits, that is allowance, or the deductions column. But if the figures are okay, they have been captured correctly, you now move the payroll from draft and approve it. So you can approve a single employee, or you can approve individuals in bulk. So that's where the selections comes in. So you select the individuals that you want to approve, and then those approve icon convert to draft, pay, mark as paid. So if you approve that, you approve the records which are on that specific page. So that the expense for that, the payroll for all those individuals are approved. So I see there's a payroll which is not processing. So I think it's this guy. Let me approve for the 3 records. Let's see whether it's going to actually approve. Yeah, so there's a guy there whose payroll is not yet complete. So you have confirmed the benefits, you have confirmed the taxes, you have confirmed the net takeaway home. So what's the next step? So work-based system comes in again. You get a pay slip. So the system, it's automatically also picking the deductions, the earnings, and any other benefit that you are giving to the employee and computing it, and it can give a clear display. What have I been able to earn? What were my deductions? And why have I taken these as my net takeaway home? So from this, we can see that the payroll has been approved, and we are able to get a pay slip at the end of the day. So let me just return it there. Yeah, so I want to go to the end corner to get that specific pay slip of an individual that I can use. So let me go there. So as also the process of payroll looks like, in terms of once you process the pay, the employees, if you're using a system, they can access the pay slip from the self-service portal. You can email the pay slip, or you can download the pay slip and send it to the employee. So the same way work-based system has the same process. So you can either view and download the specific pay slip, or email directly to the employee. Because as we said in the beginning, you feed the system with the employee biodata, including the email addresses. Then from there, at the end of the day, or once you run a payroll, you're expecting that this employee requests for their pay slip. So if they don't have access to the self-service portal, then you can be able to email them directly. So this is the breakdown in terms of the earnings, any benefit that the employee has, the gross amount, NSSF, taxable income, pay, any other deduction that you have given them, and the net takeaway home. So don't worry about the company logo. This is also possible. You upload your own logo. It doesn't need to go with WorkPay logo. You can upload your own logo. Great. So from there now, we get to go to reports. After you have processed the payroll, you're required to get reports at the end of the day. So there is also an icon for reports for all the payroll reports. It's also based in country-wise. So you are first given the option to change this. We can change this to Uganda and get the reports that are based for that specific country. So every country have different reports. And that's why it's so important once you run a payroll, compare. We have given a transport allowance to 50 people. Have all the 50 people been captured in the payroll? So that's the importance of getting these specific reports. So at this particular point, you can get a master roll. So a master roll showing all through from the basic gross earning, taxes, and the pay, and also the net take away home, which is also downloadable. So you get this and download it. And so what happens here, it goes directly to your email address and get it as an Excel. So that is one, the master roll, that is what Nelson has called a payroll something, but it's just an analysis of everything from basic all the way to the net. Then the second that you're able to get is allowance report. So you give someone a commission, you give someone an airtime benefit. So you are also able to get, so it will show the value total. So for those who do check or reports that needs to be filed, that is also another benefit that you get to, once you use the system, you get to have. So the other one is about also NSSF, that is the National Security Fund, both employer contribution, employee contribution. It's also another important report that HR requires. Even before it goes to the finance team, this is very important for you to just confirm, has everyone been deducted accordingly? So the other one is also health insurance report. Also, this one is for employees that have NHIF, if a country has that. So it's also a report that is generated and you can also download it. You'll get everything from the system is downloadable. There's nothing that you can't get in soft copy. No, everything is downloadable, both if it's for contractors or it's for full-time employees. And I think the other most important is the net pay report. So this one shows the name of the employee, what you have computed as net, the payment method, their bank information, like that. So every country has different banks, different routing code. So it's also very important as you're giving the finance team, this is the payroll, this is the bank information of the employees, this is the net takeaway home. That report is also very, very important. So more to that. What was the difference in terms of last? So it's also a very important report as you are doing your reconciliation of a month, basing it with the previous month that you
Maggie, you are breaking. Hello, Maggie?
Yeah, Maggie has disappeared a little bit. I think there's a network interruption.
Yes. Okay, but if I've heard her clearly, yeah, that's network issues. So if you have any question, you can just raise them. And she just
There's
talked
a
about.
question.
Okay.
There's
Yeah.
a question. Wahid has asked, how does WorkPay differ from other payroll systems? What is the advantage of using WorkPay as opposed to Oracle? And as we wait for Maggie to come, probably you can give your input because you have used WorkPay for a while.
Okay, yeah. So I think I'll leave it to Maggie to come in when she's stable to answer question. She's able to handle it. So let Wahid just keep up with us and wait, and then we'll be answered. So I want to say that Maggie has touched into various points that actually had presented, and there's a file that she talked about, the one that has got the bank details. So that is what we're talking about in terms of, it's always called bank file. What you'll now take to the bank and upload in various bank portals. So bank banks always have portals where you can just upload that information, where you have got the bank, employee, the bank code, the bank name, branch, you just upload it. And then the employees will get salary. So once it's uploaded on the systems, you actually get it. So if you've never seen it, go to your finance, you don't do payroll, then you'll find it there. So Maggie, I see you are back. You can take it back.
Maggie, welcome back.
Okay, okay, as we wait. Margaret?
Can you hear me?
Yes, thanks. You're back.
Okay. So let me go back to where I was. That is the payroll variance. That is what I was explaining initially. So then to get to know where the difference came in. So is it the basic? Is it the gross? Did we add any item? And this person made the difference in terms of the gross for this month. So this is also an important report that a HR should keep in track with. So we give you all the employees and also the changes that happened from the previous month. And this is also a report which is exportable and you can be able to print that. So other than that, I think the other one is about deduction. It's still the same as an allowance. If you have given 50 people advances, you are able to get a report for that and who was given whatever report, whatever advance at what given time and why the advance tally is adding up to that specific figure. So I think the other item is about the tax computation report. So this one is also there in the system whereby the reports that are required for different entities. So this one is for KRA, for other authorities that needs to get filed at a specific day of the month. You might find others.
Hello, Mark, are you sharing a screen?
Okay.
I can't see it, yes. If you're sharing. Yeah, as she comes back now, we also seen that our time is already up, but still, I would request that you extend just a little bit to the 15 minutes so that we allow us cover the also what we also wanted to cover in terms of analytics, which is very key for us. So I just requesting that we stay a little bit longer, maybe up to 9:15 to allow us also cover that part, because I believe it's critical for you to have that knowledge together with this. Next time we discuss another topic altogether. Yes, Maggie, are you able to proceed?
Yeah, sure. I think it's going to take Margaret some time before she comes back as waiter. Yes, Maggie.
Yes, I can hear you guys. So I think yes, I'm sharing my screen. Okay.
Can't see. Yeah, it's now up. Yeah, that's not
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was displaying the reports on the ones that you're going to be able to get at the end of the day once you process the payrolls. So these reports, I think these ones are majorly an important aspect from the HR perspective in terms of being able to give the analysis of what happened and why were there changes in a previous payroll and whatever you have run as the current payroll. So this is what we currently have in terms of the reports and in terms of getting to just compare the payroll. And I know the major report that is used by most companies outside there, we have this, which we call master report, which has the analysis from basic all the way to net. Another report is for the statutories, that is either the health fund report, which we call, some countries call it NHIF. We also have the national security, social security report, tax report based on the different countries that you are in, and also the net pay report for taking that to the bank. and also the payroll variance report. So I think those are the major reports that, in terms of running a payroll, that as a HR is always concerned and keen before a meeting, because they must tally with what is the whole budget of that specific month. If your budgeted the net pay was 4 million, what constituted in that specific 4 million from the basic, from the taxes, from the employer contribution? So why did we derive at the 4 million? So I think for me, that's it, Nelson.
Thank you, Margaret. There's a question: why should people choose WorkPay as opposed to probably Oracle and other payroll systems? What is the difference? What is the selling point of WorkPay?
All right. So one, WorkPay is a cloud-based software. Second, WorkPay can be used by so many users. So our system is not restricted in terms of users. Third, WorkPay will compute your payroll within a minute. If you go if you take so many minutes, it's just 5 to 10 minutes. So it will be able to compute that even without any complicated payroll. You are able to compute a payroll within 5 to 10 minutes just by a click of a button. Second, WorkPay makes companies to be compliant. So any taxes, any changes that have happened in the market, we always incorporate them immediately and with effect. So if it's something that is going to effect from June, we incorporate that. And the other reason that you should choose WorkPay also is because we also provide customized reports for you to be able to take to different authorities. So if you are in Kenya, to take to KRA, to take to NSSF, if you are in another country, you get these reports at just by a click of a button. So I think those are the benefits that we are putting into the market and why we are beating so many other HR softwares that are there in the market. Yeah.
Thank you. Anne Bart is asking, does WorkPay have an option of generating statutory returns templates?
Yeah, it has that option.
Okay, all right. Simon Frank, please give clarity on holiday pays, on its calculations and overtime.
Okay, so I think, I can clarify this. So how the system works, it will be dependent by when did you get the overtime. So if the overtime is during the week, the system has the 1.5 incorporated in it. If it's an overtime that is calculated during a holiday or during a weekend, that one is computed via 2.0. So for holiday pay, I would just like to get to understand more on that. I think holiday pay, it's once you work, it's still treated as a 2.0 calculation, if that is what you meant, Simon. Give clarity on withholding tax calculation. So currently we incorporate withholding tax based on different countries. So like Kenya, we have 5%, other countries are at 10%, other countries are at 20%. So this will be based on the payroll for that specific country that you're running for the contractors or the consultants. Yeah, Sunday public holiday, that one is computed with 2.5.
Very good. Thank you very much, Maggie. Some people are appreciating the presentation that you've given us. I'm sure that people have enjoyed the sequence you have given them. And I'm beginning to love this function of HR, because if you're saying it is 5 minutes, so long as your data is okay. Now, let us spring to the question of data analytics, because it's one of the most important parts of payroll management. And I'm sure it is Nelson who's going to tell us about data analytics, payroll analytics. Is it so? Nelson?
Yes, Richard.
Yes.
It's me.
Mm.
It's me who will come in.
All right.
I used to do payroll some years back when I was at Pakin, but Radisson and also at Superior Hotel. So those ones, it was a good time to do payrolls. And that's where calculation started, because I used to enjoy calculations. So I said, why not? So I've been proceeding with it over days, and now can actually look at it. So to LNN, we have already in SF already been added to the system WorkPay. They're actually calculating it very well. So you need to actually to get okay, the system has already been updated with current changes, and actually I know they're waiting to bring in the deductions that will be coming in from the new finance bill. So the system, I know, they're just in the limbo. The code is written, you just waiting to run the code for you to deduct that amount. Now, I want to look at payroll analytics. And what is it? What are we talking about when we talk about payroll analysis? And this is an area where we're saying that we are using data analysis techniques and tools to get some insights to inform our decision making. So whenever you see data analysis anywhere, just know that what we're looking for trends and patterns for insights, and whatever we're looking at the end of it is to manage or help make decisions which are informed on data processing. So now we are able to do this when we have multiple data sources across various countries. So it is good for you when you look at the data that you have, and you just see that when you do data entry, then you are doing data collection. You put them in various categories, and you can see that the system already had data in various categories. They've been organized in Rwanda, Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania. So you can just go and specify which one do I want. I would be wondering if you were to do that calculation in a book, it would be a very lengthy one. So we're saying that with the systems, it's actually been made easier. And now,
Nelson, is there a way you can increase your voice? It looks like Simon Frank is not getting you.
Okay, yeah. So now I hope it's okay, right?
Yeah.
So now, saying, why would we do payroll analysis? One of it is to help us with compliance. With compliance here, what we mean is that we're going to get the discrepancies, potential risk, and areas where compliance can be improved. So when you do analysis of the payroll, you want to know, did I actually have, like now, if you to do new and safe, the way someone just asked here, are we actually having 1080 in Kenya? Are we having NSF, NHIF, the relief calculating properly? So you are now getting to be compliant. Another thing that we'll also be looking at is to do cost management. Is now we come in and look at various regions. How are they behaving? Yeah. And how can we connect the salary structures and see that how comes we are having the same HR assistant in Uganda earning more than HR assistant in Kenya? Why is that discrepancy? Then now you can say, okay, now I know that there might be a problem somewhere, or whatever is happening, the outliers is because of this and this. So now you can actually explain your costs. Yeah. You also get to have a better performance because you're now able to track what is happening. Now you can actually know how long does it take me to do a payroll. And now, according to what I've heard from Maggie, that with the WorkPay system, you can do it within 5 minutes. I believe that is now from the disbursement of funds to the accounts, but not putting in place what you need to do to keep in every person's information in the system. So we're going to have accuracy because as you do analysis, you're able to identify the gaps. And now you, with the time, from time to time, now you are looking at being accurate, timeliness, you get your performance, productivity as a person. Yeah. And parameters will also be looking at. Now, we also need to get data consistency. Remember, payroll should remain the way it is. If you are in the previous class, Jonathan said that once you've come into the company, then what we have should remain the way it is until it is changed. Yeah, knowingly or unknowingly. So when you're doing analysis, you're just looking into that data, asking your questions. What is it the way it is? So you can now bring in your processes. Like what I've just done 9 process steps for you to do a payroll. So if you have that kind of a process, then you can look at vis-a-vis what you do on a day-to-day basis. And from that line, you're able now to improve the quality of whatever you're doing and the integrity. Remember, we talked about changes in the payroll. It should never take place unless they are signed properly. Yeah. Now, when it comes to workforce analytics, this is where we're looking at various aspects: the compensation, the benefit, turnover rates, labor costs. Like now, a very if you are accountant or you're the one doing payroll, then you're already doing scenarios of what if finance bill goes through. What we saw in our newspaper, though it was not calculated correctly, but what if the finance bill goes through? What will be our labor cost? What will be that effect on our revenue? And how will it look like for our staff? Will they still be happy? So this is where you come in and look at the employee compensation and how it's actually hitting into your company or the business. Then now you can do a forecasting and now see, this is where you anticipate what's going to happen. And then you know, now this is what I can actually do. So my favorite segment is that we look at some of the few metrics. So under compliance, what can you measure and what are you looking for? So under compliance, we look for tax compliance rate. So this is percentage of payroll transactions compliant with the local tax regulations. So meaning you want to see, if you're doing tax calculations, how many of them in my first run were actually correct? It will help you to work with your service provider. Tell them that every time I do my payroll, I always find two people not collecting properly. What is the problem? The same as the number two, if you are to be reviewed, yeah, by KRA, would they find it okay? Yeah, the compliance. If now labor officer was to come in and request for your payroll details, will it be found to be okay? The compliance score. Then when you're doing internal audits, what are we finding? So audit that is always done qualitatively, but you can still quantify in terms of issues that have been identified during the audits. So all these three metrics will give the same thing, only that the interpretation was what will be different. So the first one is when you are looking at your own level in the company. Number two will be from the government side of view. Then number three will be from the internal processes kind of view. So all of them are the same thing, but now at different levels for you to check on the compliance. Cost management. So we want to see labor cost per employee. That's the same as average salary per employee or average labor cost per employee. So what we also call employment costs. So this is average cost of labor per employee, including salaries, benefits, and taxes. So you take the whole gross salary, then you add benefits. Divide the number of employees, then now you know how much are we paying per employee. So that even if you are to bring in someone from your company, you will see how far is this person far from the average in terms of maybe requesting solo or requesting high amount. Then payroll processing cost. So how much does it cost you to do your payroll in a month? So this one is where we come in cost management. Now say that, okay, I will now go for work pay because I know very well when I go for work pay, they might be fair in terms of their pricing. Yeah. Because they offer good support to customers, then I know very well that I will not be wasting time. So even my salary, when it is accounted for in terms of the payroll cost, it will be lesser because I don't have any problem. They also use that because they do updates, then I know that I will not be incurring any compliance cost. So no fines for me. So all those costs that are associated with the payroll, if you can do them together now, you can get your payroll processing cost, which will now inform which system should I actually be using. Yeah. Don't just only look at the cost they're giving, because sometimes the time that you take, yeah, asking for updates to be done is also costing you something, because you should be doing something better than just asking the service provider to change the tax laws. They forgot to change tax laws. They forgot which day was a holiday. So you can't even do your work properly because everybody's complaining. So all those, you do them together, can now know the processing cost that you get. When I come performance metric, this is now you as a person, how you do your work. So the payroll accuracy rate. So this one here will be almost the same as the compliance that we saw the other side. So are you running an error-free calculations and payments? Are you for the person that when you run your payroll, the employee will come back and say that I got less salary. My salary was higher by 30%. So those kind of things, is it error-free? How long would you take to do payroll? Remember some days back when I was doing payroll, I used to leave the office at 12. And I know what I was using, one of it is also highlighted here when we're asking ourselves why would we choose WorkPay. So how long are you taking to do that payroll process that you're going to do? Is it taking you 2 days, 4 days, 5 days? Yeah. So resolution time, this is where now I have seen that there's a problem in the payroll system. But for me to navigate, even to change your name itself is a problem. For me to go and add a new earning in the system itself is a problem. It means that I will take a lot of time. So how long do you take to rectify a problem in an errors in the payroll? Do you need to call back the service provider to give it to you? The number 4 in this category is employee satisfaction with payroll. So are they happy with whatever you're doing? Can they get pay slips on time? Are you doing it correctly? Are you calculating their salaries properly? So about the whole process, which involves data entry. So you enter their NHIF number wrongly. So they go to the hospital, they're told that you didn't do the proper ID number. So I've not been paid for. Salaries keep on bouncing. So they're getting salaries late. So what are you doing about that? You just do run a survey, then you get your answer there. So workforce analytics, labor cost a percentage of revenue, what we always call payroll costs. So how much are you paying vis-a-vis your revenue? Various industries, I know in tech industry, it might be higher, up to about 40%, because they say tech bros and sisters are paid big amounts. If you go to hospitality, it should be around 14 to 8%. If you go to other industries like manufacturing, they also do around the same amount, but most people will range their payroll cost from around 20%, average 20% labor cost. So turnover rate, this is also, we also get from, when you're doing a payroll, you now see who has left and who has come in. So you can also check on that. Then how are you utilizing the benefit? We saw that someone there has got airtime allowance. So you want to analyze and see, are they actually working out properly? Yeah. So you look into that and also get your insights on those areas. Then now the last category that you're having when you're doing the forecast. So labor forecast accuracy. So if you're saying that now I'm going to do my budgeting, then you budget to pay people 50,000 next year. Then something happens you didn't foresee. Then now we are going to pay more, 60,000. So what is your forecasting accuracy? You can see it from the payroll, and you can now learn. When you are doing payroll every now and then, you can track it. You can now know which metrics do I need. Look at the budget variance, the compliance risk forecast. So you're looking at, okay, last year I only had 5 risks that costed us maybe a fine of 50,000. But with this year, if we work on them, all of them, we won't have any compliance risk anywhere in the future with our payrolls. So these metrics always sets a standard for you to start now thinking of making your payroll process better. And just to conclude, we are talking about now, when you do metrics, you're just going to evaluate your performance. You're going to look for areas for improvement. And the bottom line is you're always looking to make informed decision making in whatever area you are looking at. And we're saying that now these metrics that we just looked at, they may vary depending with the industry, size of the company, and unique requirements. Maybe your company don't care about how much you are paying people. It's not here nor there. So nobody wants to see the labor cost. They don't care about it. So why would you show that? Is a requirement that you need to have? Yeah. Maybe you don't have a problem with costs, so you don't even care about benefits. So you don't even need to see that kind of a metric. So you always choose metrics based on your company preferences. And when you go to ISO standards on HR metrics, ISO number 30414 of 2018, it says that metrics will always be chosen dependent on those 3 factors: the industry, company size, unique requirements, which here now revolves around your stakeholders. And that will mark our longest class. I want to believe so. If not so, then they might be the second longest class we've ever had. And thank you all for attending. And I want to take it back to Richard. And thanks to Maggie also. Yes. Richard.
Thank you very much, Maggie, for the demonstration. Thank you very much, Nelson, for that elaborate and very precise presentation concerning payroll complexities and making it more clear so that we can be able to be more efficient. I'm wondering, Nelson, whether those of us who have attended will get those slides because they're so beautiful. I couldn't want not to have them myself. I don't know what the rest will say. I don't know if for those people who have attended, if we can get the slides.
Yes, I will share.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much. Even Simon has agreed. Amekubali. Simon amepiga kura, amesema ndio. Ladies and gentlemen, because of time constraints and we want to go and have supper before it's 10, because we are not encouraged to go and eat late. Henry, I can see, good job, guys. We will do our usual thing. We will unmute and say good night. Thank you very much in our own language. I'll consult you, Simon, as promised to call Nelson. So don't forget tomorrow. Tomorrow we have coffee, where we are going to discuss a lot of things. And also, most importantly, network. Margaret, you are invited. I'm wondering whether Nelson has invited you. You can come and drink coffee on behalf of accountants, I think, IT people. So we can say good night as we go eat, and we wish ourselves. I'll miss coffee. Simon, you should call us, me and Nelson, to be said. Does Margaret provide individual training? Barnabas is asking, Margaret, can you provide individual? Nelson does a lot of that. If you want personalized training, even Maggie does that. Good presentation, Milka, Minor, good presentation. Leo hakuna mtu anaongea lugha ya kwa ni kizungu tu, Queen's English. Barnabas Omondi has appreciated, my friend. Barnabas, how have you been? I hope you're well. Yes, Rosemary Milton, thank you very much and good night. Good night to Rosemary Milton. Who else has said something? Great. Thank you very much and good night and God bless.
Okay, thank you everyone, and wishing you a blessed night. See you. For those of us who will be available